Hello, welcome to a new edition of FireWatch. This month on FireWatch, I have one of my favorite people here with me today, Chief Ferguson. Chief Ferguson has been with the fire department just over 41 years, and this is his last day. He's going to be retiring. So I'm going to sit down and have a casual conversation with Chief Ferguson to see what's been going on for the last 41 and a half years here in the city of Danville in the fire department. Well, Chief Ferguson, welcome to FireWatch. I believe this is your first time on the show. You've run from me for a long time, but I've got you captured down here, and we're going to just sit outside in front of the trucks on a nice sunny day and enjoy FireWatch and talk a little bit about Chief Ferguson and Danville Fire Department. What do you think?
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here, and you finally got me on camera after all these years, and kind of a good parting shot just to be here, and I'm grateful to be honored in this way.
Yeah, Chief Ferguson, let's go back to the beginning. You were first military, I believe, and then you did a little bit of firefighting down in the Tidewater area, I believe.
That's correct. Okay,
and then you wanted to come back home and so tell me about when you first started and move us on up to the day a little bit about your career here in the fire service. And I know it's interesting. I've heard a lot of stories from some of the guys. They've celebrated with you all weekend, and today is a special day. It is a special day for me too, because I'll tell you a little bit about how you helped me too.
Well, when I graduated from high school, I went into the Air Force, and they made me a firefighter. I was a firefighter in there for 4 years, and when I got out, I had an opportunity to work again in Danville Mills, and they said you can either do that or be a firefighter. So I decided to be a firefighter, and I got a job with the Civil Service at Fort Lee Military Post down in Petersburg, Virginia, and I was there a year. And I was fortunate enough to get hired here in Danville in 1973. And at the time I was at Fort Lee, I was the first minority that they had ever hired. And so when I left there and I came here, I was the first that they hired here also. And when I was hired at the City Hall in the Deputy City Manager's office with Chief Bray, and the Deputy City Manager at that time was Mr. Mitchell. And they asked me why did I want to come back to Danville when I was making more money down there, and I told them I wanted to just come home. So they told me what the requirements were, and I told them that I would honor their requirements, and they told me I was hired. So I came here in October of 1973. And on my second day here, we were washing trucks out front. My first day was kind of quiet. My second day, we were washing trucks out front. And back then, we used the big rubber booster line hose to wash the trucks with. And I was going around one of the fire trucks, and I tripped over the hose. And when I tripped over the hose, I got all of the guys wet. And they all laughed, and we all laughed. And Robert Anderson we know him as Bob Anderson. He was actually a firefighter then. He was our cook, and he said that you done broke the ice. And so from that point on, I just fell right in where I was needed and used.
Okay, Chief Ferguson, so you started with the military and you went to the mill, and of course, the mill is not here anymore, and we all miss that. And then, you started your little career here in the fire department. Well, you just said something that hits home a little bit, being the first minority. Well, that's the same for me. I was the first minority. I was the first female, first African-American female, and first female overall to come into the fire department. And it's been good for me as well as it's been for you.
It has.
When I was first going through the academy, we found out, You came to my house and talked to me. I don't forget that. I didn't forget that about the fire service and how it's going to be a good career for me, and you think I do well. And I appreciate everything you've done for me as well. But that's enough about me. Let's come on and talk about you, because I know you got a whole lot of years hidden in there you want to talk about.
Well, I've had some good, I'd say good productive years here in the department. There's been changes, and as we know, all changes sometimes have not changes for good, but they've been changes for the better of the department. And as with change, you know, you have to adjust and adapt, and I was able to do that. And so when I came here, we were riding on the tailboard of the trucks then, and I'll never forget, I've always told these guys here the story. My first day in the kitchen, I asked the training chief what was I to do if they had a fire. And he told me, and before I could he could answer me, we had back then we had the bell, and the bell hit, and we had a fire on Monument Street, and we got there. Well, let me tell you the story. As I went to get on the fire truck, I put my coat on, and back there then we had the boots, the pull-up boots. I got my boots on. Well, when I went to step on the bumper of the truck, my flashlight fell on the floor in the apparatus bay. And the engine at that time was a convertible. It ran over it. So we got back to the station after the fire, and I went in the chief's office, and I told him, I said, Chief, I said, the truck ran over my flashlight. He says, no problem, Frank. I'll give you another one. So that was on a Friday. That Sunday, we went out again on another call, and I went to put my coat on, and the flashlight fell out again, and the engine ran over it again. Well, we worked again that Tuesday. I went in the chief's office to tell him that I had the truck had ran over, and he got a little hot, and he told me, I'm not giving you any more flashlights. So he gave me an old Army, probably one of the old Army flashlights that had the angle on it, and from the 1970s until the 1980s that was what I used, in addition to the lights that at the time we had mounted on the trucks. And so we went from that to wearing SCBAs, and I wasn't very fond of wearing SCBAs, and I told the guys that I knew it was not correct to do so, but I would always, when I was stationed at Station 5, we had a lot of fires, and I would always get in there and get the fire under control and knocked out before the other companies would get there. And so, good, bad, and different, that's what I did. And so I've been to quite a few fires, and so I've saw quite a bit in 40 years, and so it's all been good. You can say take the good with the bad, but predominantly it has been good. And as far as being treated, I've been treated fairly, and I've had some ups and downs, but in spite of all of that, I endured it, and it's been good. So.
Okay, you talked about that chief. I'm going to test you a little bit. How many? Can you name all the fire chiefs you worked for?
Yes, I worked for Chief Tex Bray, and then when Tex Bray left, I worked for Chief David Lampley. Okay. And I worked for him, and then when Chief Lampley left, I worked for Chief Bernard G. Lewis, and then of course now working for Chief Eagle. Okay,
now I'm not going to ask you about all the city managers, because I know we've had a few, and you've worked with them. And your promotions, okay, you were firefighter for so many years. let's go through the steps of your promotions, because I think you first got promoted, was it annexation or before?
Well, I made driver of Engine 9 in 1980, and I was at Station 3, and I came back to Station 1 in 1980. And I drove Engine 9 for 2 years, and then I was reassigned to Station 5. And I stayed at Station 5 for 6 years as driver up there. So until annexation came, and then of course I made captain in 1988.
Okay.
And then of course I was captain from 1988 until 2010, 2011 is when the Battalion Chief's position was created and structured, and so I became Battalion Chief.
Okay. Now a little bit about your education. You were a fire science student, if I'm correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, you went through that program and got your degree there.
I did. I got the fire science, and before I came here, go back in the Air Force, they've got what they call technical training schools, and I was not fortunate enough to go to technical training. I had to go to on-the-job training, and so I was just assigned to a base, and they gave me training, and so with that training, when I was discharged, I went to Fort Lee for a year, and then when I came here, so I had a very good working knowledge as to being a firefighter.
Okay. Chief Ferguson, I want to bring up something else too. It probably wasn't one of your highlights, but it's something we as firefighters will face in our careers, have been. You know, you lost your father in a fire. And just having to overcome that and also be able to come back to work. What made you persevere and just come on again to be able to come back to work and go through this again?
Well, the thing with my father, I guess I'm a lot like my father, and I believe that he would have wanted me to continue on in this field. And my father actually came down here the first year I was here, and he actually was driving the street sweeper for the city of Danville. My dad and my mom both worked for the city. I attributed that to me being hired here because my mom told me that the fire department had an opening. She saw it on the board. My mom was a night maid up at City Hall. She told me that they had an opening and that I need to come home and apply for it, and so that's what I did. And so, but upon his death, that was tragic for me. But yet, you know, I don't know. I've always had this thing to, you know, didn't stay down. I got back up, and the same thing that happened with that happened. I lost one of my sisters about 4 or 5 years ago, and that hurt me to my heart when that happened. But here again, you know, you got to persevere and you got to go on. And so that's what I've been able to do. So, and it's really by God's grace, of course, which is the most important thing that has kept me this long.
I think, you know, your faith, your family and your faith is so strong. It has taught us a lot. I know the younger firefighters coming in, and some of them are older in age, but you know, just don't have that many years of service. And we learned so much for you of how to treat people, how to treat our chief staff, and just be respectful. Things that you know, rules that they bring down, we might not agree. But you always endure, you always stay positive. And it showed with what the guys did for you on Saturday night. And, you know, your standing ovations, and every time we see you, you're a person to model after. And hopefully, you know, some of us can take on some of what you taught, and we listened. And we always talk about Frankenisms. and I know you got some, and our viewers might not know what a Frankenism is, so I'm going to ask you to give me one. You know, one thing we know is Frankenism, popcorn, and so tell us a little bit about your Frankenisms.
Well, Frankenism is just by me being the person that I've been. I've actually taught Sunday school for about 25 to almost 30 years, and there are a lot of parables, and when you see situations in life and around the station, I'd always remember those parables to put in those situations, and people have often laughed, you know, at the parables and parables are nothing but just, you know, they real life situations which you put it to biblical principles, and that's what I was able to do, you know, and we laugh about it, and I've always tried to keep that on the forefront. And yes, I've liked popcorn in I think 1970, 71, at one of the fire stations they started popping popcorn, and so from 1971 in the Air Force, and then I went down to Petersburg and we popped popcorn, and I came here and they were popping popcorn, and then I went to the station up behind the museum now. They were popping corn up there, and so it's just been a tradition for me, and every night, you know, we get the call at headquarters station or wherever we were, we got a lid raiser. Everybody come on in, we got a lid raiser, and so everybody would come in and we'd enjoy popcorn, and we'd sit, and one of the firefighters, Lieutenant King, me and him we always sat in that night and eat corn, and I would get me a Mountain Dew, and he says, "You gonna get that Mountain Dew? You gonna be up? You know, so you gonna be up all night?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "He ain't gonna be up all night." He said, "The time he get upstairs, even with that Mountain Dew, he's gone to sleep." You know, so he'd always tease me about the popcorn and Mountain Dew. You know.
Yeah, I remember one of the new guys coming in. This is when I came in annexation. You sent him out to get some popcorn, and he went up there and bought some little cheap popcorn. Oh no, this ain't gonna work. You're just not gonna make a lid raiser. And I believe the other ships are popping popcorn now.
They are.
I come down here at night and there's a big thing of popcorn in there, and I get me some and going out the door. Yeah. So I expect you're gonna get your last lid raiser down here tonight, and I hope it's a good one. And we've enjoyed you, Chief Ferguson, and you know the doors are always open.
Thank
and
you.
When we do our new station, the opening, I hope you're going to come back and visit with us and see us. And you know we'll be calling on you probably for some wisdom and Frankenism. You know, when the dog is on the porch and they get up and run around the back and go up under the house, you know what that means, don't you? And so you think about it. You know that dog don't want to hear what's going on. He wants to get away. So they do make sense, and we're going to miss them. And I just want to tell you that we love you. And, you know, I can't think of a better person to be around and want to pattern myself afterwards. I hope that I can do things right and be a good leader just as you are.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we're going to move inside, and we have an award ceremony. You're going to see some of the things that Chief Eagle is going to present to Chief Ferguson here on his last day. So if you want to see Chief Ferguson, call us. We'll find him somewhere. He's a great guy to be around, a very positive inspiration, a good, faithful, God-fearing man. So let's move inside and see what's going on within the station.
And that's all of our service awards, with the exception of one. And I saved the best for last. And today we have Chief Ferguson. As I said, he has been a tremendous asset to this department, to me personally, and I'm proud to have worked with you. And we've got a service award of 40 years of service. While you're up here, we've also got perfect attendance, and I think you get this every year, don't you? For many years. As y'all know, today's Chief Ferguson's last day, and his last tour of duty. And with that, I've got for your certificate of recognition from the City of Danville, 41 years of service. And then also, we give you your helmet for the many years, as well as your badge. And I think they gave you your badge the other night. And with that, I appreciate all that you've done, the dedication that you've had, the great experience, and all the good parables and stories over the years. You'll never be forgotten, and you'll always be part of us. And I'm proud to work with you. And we wish you, all of us wish you the absolute best. And your family. We have your family here, and we know behind every great man is a great woman and a great support group. And you speak very highly of your family. You've always told me about them, and anyway, I've enjoyed your stories and your family and getting to know you, and we wish you the best. So, thank you.
Danville Fire Station number 2, time check 0730. We are wishing Frank Ferguson a happy and fun retirement.
Station 3 to Chief Ferguson. You've earned it after 41 years. I hope each day holds more blessings than the day before. Enjoy.
Thanks from 4C. Station 5C to Chief Ferguson. Thank you for all the memories, the leadership, the guidance, and most of all for the friendship. Hope you enjoy your retirement. We love you, Chief.
Congratulations from Station 6C. God bless you and your family. We wish you well.
Congratulations from Station 7C. Happy retirement, Chief.
Congratulations from the EOC.
Congratulations, Chief Ferguson, from all CCF employees. Have a great retirement. We'll miss you.